to using onboard thrusters. Of course, fuel in those thrusters, very valuable. It's a limited commodity for the lifetime of James Webb's observations of the universe. We're 13 minutes, 55 seconds into the flight. Jean-Luc Voyer, the range operations manager, continues to report a nominal performance for James Webb. And again, Luce Fabriget from the European Space Agency, how is this trajectory being carefully and methodically adjusted to provide the correct parameters in the final stages of ascent?
Yes, Rob, as you can see on this plot, the altitude is slightly going down. It's perfectly normal. The launch vehicle is really on the line where it should be. This decrease of its altitude, slight decrease of its altitude, will allow the launcher to benefit and the upper stage to benefit of the gravity effect and to increase its velocity until it reaches a thermal threshold. It's about to reach it, or even already reached it now, and it will go up. And now it will go up and up to the separation of the Webb telescope. It will separate the Webb's telescope on a highly elliptic orbit, but still around the Earth. The telescope will be released, inserted on an orbit around the Earth, with an apogee, a very high apogee above 1 million kilometers.
Trajectory nominal as reported by Jean-Luc Voyer. You see him in that view, 185 kilometers in altitude, some 4,500 kilometers downrange from the launch site here in Kourou, moving at more than 8 kilometers per second, right on the plot, right on the trajectory, everything looking great. We are about 9 minutes away from the completion of upper stage ignition. It's shut down, and then about a 2.5-minute coast phase before Webb will separate. Observatory separation will be called out. You'll be hearing those calls and the initial calls from Carl Starr, the mission operations manager at the Space Telescope Science Institute at Johns Hopkins, through solar array deploy and the declaration of a power-positive spacecraft. James Webb, of course, will be traveling well beyond the moon to a distance of about 1 million miles away from Earth, settling into a highly elliptical, halo-like orbit to begin its astronomical observations. And again, as we mentioned earlier, at the time of observatory separation, Webb will be at an altitude of approximately 864 miles, statute miles, traveling some 21,000 miles an hour. We're about 8 minutes away from upper stage shutdown. The stage has performed as planned. No issues reported. The launch occurring at 12:20 Greenwich Mean Time, 9:20 Kourou time, 7:20 a.m. Eastern Time on this Christmas Day.
Very smooth launch. The velocity you just mentioned is very important, Rob. The velocity you just mentioned at separation of the telescope is very important. It will be slightly below, okay, I give it in a kilometer per second, but it will be slightly below 10 kilometers per second, because it's important that the satellite, the telescope, is not inserted on an escape orbit. It will be placed on a terrestrial orbit so that there will be time for the layup, for the early phase operations and the commissioning of the telescope. And that will be, in fact, the upper stage that will leave this orbit and goes toward an escape liberation orbit.
And of course, even though we're still in powered flight, the trajectory, the acceleration, the speed at which James Webb is going towards its preliminary orbit, all modeled in advance and carefully choreographed to maintain as quiescent an atmosphere and environment around the telescope for its ultimate separation from the upper stage of the Ariane 5 rocket, which is about 6.5 minutes from now. 18.5 minutes into the flight. It's very quiet now here in the control center here in Kourou. NASA officials, European Space Agency officials, Arianespace officials, all watching telemetry very carefully. And as the upper stage continues to burn nominally and sheds fuel, the acceleration uphill for the James Webb Space Telescope continues to increase as we approach the 20-minute mark into the flight. Again, upper stage cutoff is scheduled at the 24-minute, 51-second mark into the flight, about 5.5 minutes from now.
After the cutoff of this main engine, as you said, Rob, we will have a short ballistic phase, a short coasting phase that will, when the upper stage will rely fully on its what we call the attitude and roll control system, and it will adjust its attitude so that during this small ballistic phase, all the requirements from the telescope are fully met. And that at the separation, when there will be the separation, the conditions will be very smooth and as requested for the telescope. Beginning of life.
Today's countdown was as flawless as you can imagine. The weather was perfect all the way through the early morning hours. Through the fueling process of the vehicle. The weather's been a bit dicey here in Kourou over the past few days, but everything fell together on this Christmas day to send a new present to the world's astronomer. 20 minutes, 40 seconds into the flight.
Trajectoire normale, tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
All parameters nominal as reported by Jean-Luc Voyer, the range operations manager. 4 minutes of powered flight remaining.
The telemetry of the launch vehicle is acquired for the time being by the Libreville tracking station on the western coast of Africa. Flight control is nominal. The trajectory is fully normal, fully as expected, as you can see on the plot with the yellow plot over the green one. That is the expected one.
22 minutes into the flight. Less than 3 minutes of powered flight remaining.
Est calme.
Smooth flight control.
And again, as we've mentioned before,
Les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
everything nominal reported by the range operations manager. As we've mentioned before, this is a long ride uphill for the James Webb Space Telescope to put it at the proper position in the sky so that it can escape from the Earth, basically head beyond the moon towards its final orbit for its commissioning activities that will be the dominant feature of all of the operations from the Space Telescope Science Institute over the course of the next several weeks.
And the launch operations manager announced the acquisition by Malindi, by the Malindi station, as expected, for the end of the flight and the last part of the upper stage flight and the separation of the telescope.
James Webb is about 4 minutes away from separating from the upper stage. And again, at that point, it will be on its own. And again, those milestones that we discussed a bit earlier in the broadcast will begin to be followed carefully by the telescope controllers at the Mission Operations Center, the MOC as it's called, at the Space Telescope Science Institute in Baltimore. 1 minute of powered flight remaining. The upper stage continues to function perfectly. It's been a smooth ride for the James Webb Space Telescope.
Trajectoire est nominale.
That upper stage was loaded pre-flight this morning with 15 tons of propellant for this long 16-minute burn. Now about 30 seconds away from upper stage cutoff. And we're standing by for upper stage shutdown and the cutoff of the upper stage engine.
Extinction ESC. Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
The extinction of the shut-off of the cutoff of the engine was confirmed exactly as expected, with the exactly expected altitude and speed and velocity. So now we have entered the coasting phase, the ballistic phase, that will last for a little more than 2 minutes.
And the telescope controllers in Baltimore confirming that all of the function parameters for the James Webb Space Telescope have been loaded on board the telescope. We are expecting Webb separation at the 27-minute 7-second mark here into the flight. Just over a minute from now, springs will gently push Webb away from the upper stage of the Ariane 5. As it moves further and further away from the upper stage, there'll be what we refer to as a collision avoidance maneuver.
Yes, Rob, exactly. The springs already will give some distancing, of course, between the two objects, between the telescope and the upper stage. And then the upper stage will leave the trajectory of the telescope and makes a special maneuver to pass the telescope and heads towards a liberation orbit and leaves the telescope on its orbit without any risk of collision and without any risk of pollution towards the telescope.
And we're about 17 seconds away from Webb separation.
Séparation Webb Space Telescope. Go Webb!
We do have confirmation of observatory separation. The James Webb Space Telescope, amidst applause here in the Mission Control Center, now taking its first steps in pursuit of cosmological discovery. It was a perfect ride to orbit, and all of the separation sequence events are running in good fashion according to the telescope controllers. And there is the view from the upper stage camera on the Ariane 5 looking at the James Webb Space Telescope as it moves gently away from its launch vehicle.
Fantastic pictures of this telescope.
Go Webb, go Webb.
Yes, go Webb.
Ironically enough, as we marvel on this view from the upper stage camera, this will be humanity's last view of the James Webb Space Telescope as it moves to its workplace about 1 million miles away from Earth.
Yes, you're right, Rob. Impressive, fantastic pictures. Yeah.
Now we'll be hearing shortly from the Mission Operations Manager at the Space Telescope Science Institute, Carl Starr, who will be calling out the procedures that will lead to the deployment of Webb's solar array. And down in the fishbowl where there is jubilation, let's go to Raphael Chevrier of Arianespace. And before we do that, Raphael, a bit earlier than planned, but there is the solar array having been deployed. James Webb now has its array out as we stand by for confirmation that it is power positive.
Hey, Rob. J'entends pas ce qu'il me dit, Rob. Il m'a appelé ou pas? Il m'a appelé ou pas, Rob?
Non, il t'a pas appelé.
And there it is. There's your critical call. James Webb not only has legs, but it has power as it begins its journey and the commissioning activities to follow. And with that, let's go down to the floor in the fishbowl and Raphael Chevrier of Arianespace.
This is it. We have witnessed and the confirmation that Ariane 5 have safely delivered Webb into space. The upper stage is now being placed on a safe escape orbit around the Sun, but honestly, I've got to tell you that these images are absolutely incredible, and well, it may be the end of the mission for Arianespace, but it's only the beginning of the journey for Webb. It's now on its way to the Lagrange point. Congratulations to all the team involved in the flight. Really, there is no words to describe the immersion that is happening right now in the fishbowl. So all I can say is good luck, Webb, and bring us incredible data from the deep universe.
At that point, our sequence will continue.
Well, Raphael, congratulations on a perfect ride to orbit from the Ariane 5 out of Kourou here today. A view here in the Space Telescope Science Institute. Their work just beginning on a new era of scientific observations. Luce Fabregat, it was a smooth ride to orbit. Everything went by the book, almost like a simulation, without any problems. And we thank you for all of your insight throughout the course of the day.
Thanks to you, Rob, and really a great achievement. I have many faces and names now coming up to my mind, and really you can be proud of what was achieved on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean. Thanks a lot to you.
Tremendous jubilation here in the control center. You're looking at Jean-Luc Voyer, the range operations manager. Quite a Christmas present for the world's astronomers as the James Webb Space Telescope begins its life heading towards deep space. With that, we're going to go back to the floor now to Katie Haswell. Katie, we did our thing. It's up to you now.
Oh my goodness, I just can't tell you. It's such utter jubilation here on the floor in the Jupiter Control Center. Everybody's been whooping with joy. The controllers here and the mission controllers jumping up, clapping, whooping with joy, people hugging. And I have to say, my throat was caught as I saw the glimpse of sunshine on Webb solar panels as we watched it heading out into space on its journey to its working zone. It's going to take about 6 months before we start getting our deep space observations from Webb. Of course, the teams have got a huge amount to do before we get to that, and our best wishes with all those teams in Baltimore. I want to get some reaction. Right now, everybody's talking and hugging each other because they're feeling so excited, and I totally understand that. Let's start, though, by going over to the NASA administrator, Bill Nelson. Sophia.
Okay, can you go on right now?
Okay.
Administrator Bill Nelson, right now looking at these jubilant scenes here in the Mission Control Center in Kourou, the European spaceport in South America. There are the teams. The mission controllers have done a fantastic job. It was an utterly flawless launch from the European spaceport here on the equator in the Amazon rainforest. Hoping to go over now to NASA Administrator Bill Nelson to get some reaction from him.
All stations, 7.5 minutes, give or take, until the sequence continues with our ADIR release part 1 and our TCS configurations.
GSC on off, filling the JW6 config.
The range operations manager has been calling out the milestones throughout the flight today. And the ESA teams responsible for so much fabulous work, great teamwork here to get the Webb telescope into space, and Webb is now heading out on its journey, on its own, with the mission controllers, the telescope mission controllers in Baltimore, following those incredibly important first actions and first operations. Charlotte Bezko there, who's responsible for the ESA operations here at the spaceport. We're hanging in there, waiting and hoping to hear from the NASA Administrator, Bill Nelson, who I have absolutely no doubt will be as jubilant as everybody here at the Guiana Space Center.
All stations.
Charlotte Bezko,
at 13:04, we're expecting the windy.
who has been working for, I think, most of her professional life in human spaceflight, and now heading up the ESA operations here at the European spaceport. Over to you, Bill Nelson.
Okay, Katie, thank you very much. This is a great day, not only for America, for our European and Canadian partners, but it's a great day for planet Earth. Thanks to the team. You all have just been incredible. And over 3 decades, you've produced this telescope that is now going to take us back in time. It's a time machine. It's going to take us back to the very beginnings of the universe. We are going to discover incredible things that we never imagined. And isn't that typical of this team, where the impossible comes possible? I can't thank you enough on behalf of a grateful United States government. I can't thank our partners in Europe and Canada enough. The French launch team, the Arianespace, the flawless perfection of the vehicle. And now we have to realize there are still innumerable things that have to work, and they have to work perfectly, 344 of them. But we know that in great reward, there is great risk. And that's what this business is all about. And that's why we dare to explore. The James Webb Space Telescope is very much a part of that exploration. It's significant that we had the delays, and it kept us all the way to today, Christmas Day, when others long ago peered up into the sky and saw stars. But it's also another millennia before that a shepherd grazing his sheep would look up at the night sky. He became a poet, and he penned the words, "The heavens declare the glory of God, the firmament shows his handiwork." That shepherd, that poet, became king. And those immortal words in Psalm 19 encapsulate the expressions that we have today. The handiwork of God, as we peer back in time, over 13 billion years ago, capture the light from the very beginning of the creation. My congratulations to the team. My congratulations to NASA, to our partners. Go James Webb Space Telescope. God bless you, and God bless planet Earth. Back to you, Katie.
Bill Nelson, thank you Bill Nelson, thank you very, very much for those incredibly moving words. Indeed, we're heading out to look at the first light of the universe. And Bill Nelson there, we have Stefan Israel with us from Arianespace. Bill Nelson there being so complimentary about the partnerships, the teamwork, and thanks as well to you guys for this fantastic launch. What a day, Stefan.
Indeed, what a Christmas gift today from the Guyana Space Center. We really want to thank NASA for its trust, the administrator, Bill Nelson. We have with us Thomas Zurbuchen and all his team, and our first thoughts are going to NASA. It is a journey of 20 years we have made together. We have worked as hell, I would say, to make this happen, and now it's done. I want to thank as well ESA, who is formerly our contractor for this launch. We have Joseph Ashbarer with us, we have Daniel Neuenschwander. We have worked hand by hand to make it happen. I want to thank CNES, Ariane 5 Design Authority, and our daily partner here in the Guyana Space Center. Philippe Baptiste is with us, Marianne Claire is with us. Thank you very much to CNES. For sure, I want to pay my tribute to Ariane Group, which is the prime contractor of Ariane 5, main shareholder of Arianespace, and which has delivered the launcher up to liftoff. And doing so, I pay also my tribute to Arianespace team. The Arianespace team have worked all this year to make this 14th launch of the year and this very special mission. Your dedication, your professionalism has made the success of tonight. Tonight is a great step for the space journey. It is also a great step for the friendship between the United States of America, Europe and France. So thank you very much to all of us. And now I think we can take a little bit of a rest, but we are going now to leave with Webb up to its final destination, to the Lagrangian point. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Stefan. And the Director General of the European Space Agency is Joseph Aschbacher. Joseph.
So Merry Christmas to everyone, and we have delivered a Christmas gift today to humanity, to people, to NASA, but also to all the people in this world, because with this James Webb Space Telescope, we are really enabling new science, new excitement, but also really rewarding all the engineering and all the effort that has gone into it, and I'm really grateful for this success. We have delivered a mission into space. It's power positive, everything is nominal, and I'm very grateful to Arianespace and all our partners for all this work. Stefan Israel has already thanked all our partners, but let me also just very briefly recall that this was really a team effort. It was a team effort of the European team. We call it Team Europe, the European Space Agency, obviously providing the launcher with Arianespace, with CNES, with Ariane Group, with all our partners which we have to make this possible. And I really would like to spend a minute to thank all the people involved in this. Today is Christmas. Some of them are here, have been spent weeks here in French Guiana or at the sites where they have been working. It's a special moment. I know you have made sacrifices, but it's a special moment, and really thank you from my heart. But also thank you, NASA. Bill Nelson was speaking before. Thomas Zurbuchen is here with his team. Fantastic cooperation, and this cooperation between NASA and European team is really exemplary. And a big, big thank you, Thomas, and your people for what you have done together with us, that you have entrusted this precious spacecraft to us, which we could deliver. And I'm so happy today, I can tell you, this is a very special moment. It's very nerve-wracking. I couldn't do launches every single day. This would not be good for my life expectancy, but I can tell you this was very exciting, very nerve-wracking, but really, really very successful. And thank you from my side. And congratulations, NASA. Congratulations, science community. Big science is to come, and really, really happy. Thank you from my side.
Thank you very much. So the president of the CNES, which is the French space agency, is Philippe Baptiste, and he joins us now. Philippe.
Thank you very much. Well, as everybody here in the room, I'm very, very happy to see that everything was fine, everything is nominal. It's great news for NASA, for ESA, for all of us. I just want to thank all the people who have been working over the last 20 years on this incredible instrument, on this telescope, but also people who have been working on the launch. I'm thinking especially on the 500 people who have been working yesterday during Christmas Eve to prepare the launch, to prepare this successful launch. And I really want to thank them very much. People from CNES, from ESA, from NASA, from Arianespace, and from all the partners who were around. I also want to give a special thank to the French Armed Force of Guyana who made this launch possible. They were monitoring everything, and without them, nothing would be possible here on this site. So thank you very much for all of them, and thanks also to all people from Guyana who are supporting this incredible European spaceport that we have here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Philippe. So we now have a pre-recorded message from Lisa Campbell, who is the president of the Canadian Space Agency.
I am so proud to witness the highly anticipated launch of this extraordinary mission. Je suis très heureuse et fière de m'adresser à vous aujourd'hui. It's a remarkable feat of international collaboration to think of all the scientific and engineering coordination that made today's events possible. In fact, Webb is the result of close to 25 years of planning and development with our international partners. Notre participation au Teleskop Web est l'aboutissement de plus de 25 ans de planification et développement avec nos partenaires internationaux. We're playing a big role on the world stage. Canadian excellence has helped make this flagship telescope a reality. Our participation in Webb is extremely significant. It's the largest space science project in the 60-year history of our space program. Webb est effectivement le plus grand projet de sciences spatiales dans lequel nous avons été impliqués depuis le début de notre programme spatial. The successful launch of this groundbreaking telescope bolsters humanity's quest for knowledge of the cosmos and ignites interest in astronomy for a new generation. The Canadian Space Agency is proud to have contributed critical instruments to this large-scale partnership as part of a global effort to spur the next great scientific leap. We're thrilled to take part in a mission of such enormous scientific promise. Nous sommes ravis de faire partie de cette mission extraordinaire. Canadian astronomers are excited to use Webb's data and benefit from the tremendous science opportunities offered by this one-of-a-kind observatory. We congratulate the fantastic team of over 10,000 people who put all their skills, ingenuity, and effort into developing the telescope for more than 2 decades. Bon voyage, Webb! Canadians will follow your journey with great interest.
And now I'd like to hand you over to Thomas de Broeken, who is the head of science at NASA. Thomas.
Well, Katie, what an emotional day, what an emotional time. We're here, all of us who have been working together for so many weeks, months, and years, and more importantly, our teams who are taking team images behind us, who have put in front of their lives as a highest priority for so many of them to actually get this done and get it done here, working even during the holiday times. I just couldn't be more grateful to the many, whether it's Arianespace, CNES, the European Space Agency, all the amazing people around French Guiana, the forces that are here, all the good people that have been such great hosts to our teams. All of them I want to thank. You know, whenever we look at launches, they're both an ending and a beginning. They're an ending of an engineering project on the ground, and with many amazing hours and challenges that are there, but they're a beginning. They're a beginning of one of the most amazing missions that humanity has conceived, and I'm so excited to look forward to the next setup of this telescope and all the science to come. Thanks to everybody. This is what we can do when we come together, Katie, as one, humans. It's just absolutely incredible. Thank you.
Wonderful. And Dr. Z, thank you very much. Massive congratulations to you all, to everybody who's involved in today. Huge congratulations from everybody here at the Guiana Space Center, and also our very best wishes to all the teams in Baltimore who are now monitoring those early operations of the telescope as it starts to unfold. I'm going to hand you back now to Goddard, but before I do, I just want to say from all of us here at the Guiana Space Center, Merry Christmas. Over to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Katie. I can tell you that here it feels like the dawn of a new age. Historians of the future will divide our understanding of the cosmos into eras before Webb and after Webb. Webb is this milestone that marks a bold effort to look backwards in time to the mysterious origins of everything. Of course, we move at human time scales, so here's what's coming up. In the next few weeks, engineers will unfold Webb's critical sunshield to begin chilling the telescope to unimaginably cold temperatures. They'll extend the DTA, the Deployable Tower Assembly, the structure that supports the Great Golden Mirror. And then finally, they'll unfold that mirror and begin the process of fine-tuning the system for work. Through it all, we intend to bring you live coverage of all of the important events that are happening, along with expert commentary and extraordinary images from the Mission Operations Center and our own broadcast headquarters here at Webb's home, the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. Stay with us over the next few weeks because the adventure is just getting started. Speaking for everyone on the team, it's been a great pleasure to be with you here today. I'm Michelle Thaller, and you've been watching special live coverage of the historic launch of the James Webb Space Telescope. Thank you for joining us.